What can you talk about that you're doing right now?
Well, I'm producing another BMX movie. We don't have a title yet or a release date, but we're
Oh,
certainly on
call
the
it
way.
Balls Out.
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to call it. The Bill Allen story. But
Welcome to the Rad Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Donaldson, and a super fan of the movie, probably like you. In this podcast, I will be interviewing the cast of the film, some of the writers, and some notable fans. You can watch this podcast as a video podcast on YouTube or listen to it anywhere you listen to podcasts. Please consider liking and subscribing and share this with your Rad fan friends. Wow, have I got a great first episode for you. This one, I couldn't do an interview with anyone else other than Cru Jones himself, Bill Allen. He played the BMX wonder kid who took on superstar racer, BMX racer, Bart Taylor. And it's a fun conversation between friends. We go into his history, how he got into, the movie and what he did before that and what he's done since. So I think you're going to enjoy this episode. Good morning, Bill.
how are you doing, Tom?
Good, man. Good. How
Did you
about you?
Good? Did you go see Wizard of Oz?
I did, in fact. It was
Crazy trailer.
fantastic.
Unbelievable, right?
Oh, it's so good. You saw it, I take it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, just an incredible show. They should do that for Rad. We should have Rad at the Sphere.
That's right. They only spent 100 million on the restoration. That's nothing.
I mean, if every fan chips in $10.
Somehow, the fact that Rad was number one per screen average when it was released this year has escaped everybody. I don't know why, but
That's crazy.
I had a night this year, Tony, where Rad, I'll take all the credit for it because everybody else is dead or in jail, um, beat Tom Cruise's stupid movie. Did I say stupid? Great, great, epic movie.
Right.
So for Hollywood to not go, hey, look what happened. Looky here. It's kind of been a big blind spot, and
Yeah.
I'm rectifying that as we speak. We got some BMX projects in the works, but why it took me to reach this advanced age to go, guys, let's go. So that's mostly what I'm doing these days is kind of just get that ball rolling. And there's a lot of cool stuff. Let me close this door real quick. Hold on. So are we live?
Well, we're not live. I'm doing this as just a recording, and this is the first time I've done a video podcast, really.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting, and it's been a learning experience. Let's just say it that way. For all the podcasts that I've produced in the past, it's been an interesting challenge.
Well, Sherman's had the same challenges, even though he's had this wildly popular podcast. It's all shot out of the Friendship Club. So if you could help him with this technology, we need all the help we can get.
Oh, anytime. I mean, yeah, I always love talking to Sherman. So,
He's a hoot.
let's backtrack since this is the inaugural interview of the podcast. Um, Tell everybody what it was like, how you got involved with the movie.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I was on a TV show in 1984, maybe, called Hill Street Blues. And I got to say, I'm pretty proud of that fact. It was known at the time as to be a show for real actors. They got the best New York actors they could find, had really good scripts. So when I was a teenager watching Hill Street Blues, it was a groundbreaking show. There had been a lot of cop shows on before, But now this new gritty era of cop dramas was really kicked off by Hill Street Blues, and it was a great show. And now I'm 19 years old, still in my teens, basically, I think, and have a really meaty role on Hill Street Blues, where I get to cry like a little girl and emote, and it's a whole character arc on a very popular show, which was kind of must-see TV back in the day. Remember that phrase? And
Right.
so Hal Needham saw that episode that I was on not once but twice, and the second time he was in the midst of casting Rad. So that was all unbeknownst to me. I didn't know he knew me from Adam. I was just another actor meeting some big director. We didn't have the internet back in the day. I just knew he was the Smokey and the Bandit guy. Okay. And so they brought me
Right.
into the office. They brought me into the office with Hal and Robert and Sam. I think that was it. There was a mongoose bike sitting there, and I sat on it. I might have read a scene. I might not have. It was a meet and greet, basically. I probably read a scene or two. And then that was it. That was the casting process for me. It was not grueling. Hal knew what he wanted. He knew the kid who could, he believed, pull it off. And I was lucky enough to be that guy. I've come to appreciate casting as a happenstance. You're at the right place, at the right time, the right age, hopefully. And you may not be the best actor for the part, but you get the part because you're standing in the right place and have the skill set or the looks or whatever the weird combination is, or somebody owes you a favor. You never know why somebody's on a movie set. There can be a million reasons, literally. And so I could go into that
Sure.
later. But yeah, so Hal put his money on me, and he was not afraid of anything. He was the toughest hombre in any room he ever walked into, the number one stuntman in Hollywood. And so by the time I met him, that's kind of how he went through life, as this like big text, bigger than life character. And he invited me under his tent. And I'm like, I'm here. His last 5 movies were with Burt Reynolds, so well, okay, I'm arrived. So when
Right.
the movie didn't do so great at the box office, I'm like, nah, I guess I haven't arrived yet. And it wasn't as gutting an experience at all. I'm an actor, and I'm like, well, this is just part of the journey. And it would have been great to have this franchise take off in the 80s, but maybe not, So I'm lucky for the things I've had and avoided too.
But you had no idea that it was going to take off in the VHS world.
I mean, I wasn't aware of the chronology, but I knew this was going to find an audience. I knew people were going to lose their minds when they saw a backflip on a bike and all these great riders doing what they did for the first time. Mostly guys like yourself seeing these tricks played
Yeah.
out that they only saw in magazines. And so, no, I had an acute awareness that there's going to be life before Rad and life after Rad. And I was really correct in that thinking, because I meet so many guys today who that was the formative experience in their life. I mean, I'm exaggerating to make a point, but not really. Watching this movie, understanding that they could do the same tricks with a lot of work and some time in the ER. If you're not afraid of busting your if you're not afraid of busting your
Right.
face repeatedly and losing some teeth, then you can do this and you can be part of the club. And it really showcased, Rad did, the club feeling, and that circle of friends who were around you and were doing the same things. But there's always a standout in those kind of situations, or normally there's a standout talent, and cream rises to the top. And so it was informative for so many people on so many levels. So I didn't take that into account, that these kids would rent it at Blockbuster, watch it 12 times in a weekend, even taking their TV monitors, with an extension cord out back so they could literally watch the tricks while they're trying to perform them. And
Right.
I got to make out with Lori Loughlin, when she was 23. So
Big
that's
bonus
pretty much
there.
well, that was my job, is to be that guy and to kiss the girl and to argue with Talia Shire, who, by the way, was fairly fresh off 3 best pictures: Rocky, Godfather 1, and Godfather 2. I mean, there were no bigger movies at the time. And now I'm standing opposite Connie Corleone / Adrian. And now I have to be that guy. So people bought it, and I had some chops by that time. And here we are, 40 years later, still talking about it.
No, nobody else could have played that part. I mean, I can't picture it.
Well,
so
this is a question. This is a question that pops up occasionally online when I choose to click on the computer. And it's like, who could have played that part? Well, frankly, a lot of people could have. But what I love about the Rad Army is they get all incensed. Like, how dare you? Bill Allen is Cru Jones. I'll take that. That's pretty cool, because there's a lot of keyboard warriors out there, and mine are tougher.
It's crazy. I mean, such a loyal following. There's 2 different types of people. There's people who've never heard of Rad, and there's people that love the movie. That's it. And that's the crazy experience about that whole thing is like, it's what other film has that much of a cult following? There's a couple, but I mean, rare.
Well, again, yes, you're correct. It doesn't have the brand awareness of many, many other films. And if it was number 1 at the box office this year, if a Rad documentary that was released this year was number 2 on iTunes and performed very well, it's just like, yeah, it's not a cult thing. This is an 80s cultural phenomenon that is as much a part of the fabric of 80s cultures as the Goonies or Thrashin' or North Shore. It's in that wheelhouse of these action sports movies that really kind of took hold. And it was kicked off by On Any Sunday, and then kids saw Bob Harrow and his buddies in E.T., and they lost their minds. And then
speaking of Bob Harrow, I'm wearing one of his shirts right here.
There you go. I mean, it changed everything. So the bicyclist would clue in on these little scenes in Any Sunday or ET, and kind of clue in on that. So when they got their own whole movie that completely focused on BMX, that was just like catnip to the kids who were ready to see it at the time. So I want to think that it was a marketing issue. That's why it wasn't really properly received at the theaters. It was directed towards like a 17-year-old crowd, when it's really 12 and 13-year-olds who really took to this movie.
Interestingly, I was 17 when the movie came out, and I saw it the night it came out. Myself and 4 of my friends went. There were probably 9 people in the theater that night, and I went back to see it a couple of days later. It was gone. Like it died in the theater.
Yep. And that was quick and painless. And then it was on video. And for years, it was in the top 20 rentals at Blockbuster, at least. And it was always on the...
I went to my local video store, and every weekend I got videos to watch on our VCR, which was a kind of a luxury for our family. And if Rad was in, which it often wasn't, then I would rent it for sure, and I would watch it multiple times on the weekend. It was just it's just such a great film, and it still holds up. I mean, I've seen it. I only saw it one time on the big screen at first, but then I saw it at the 25th anniversary, which is where I met you, actually, at the Arm & Hammer Museum in Westwood, California.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that night well. And it's taken on a life of its own. If somebody tells me, yeah, I've seen Rad, 4 or 5 times, I think to myself, oh, you really haven't seen it then, have you?
Yeah, you're not a fan.
Yeah, really, guys, you got to step it up, because the people who show up at these events that I go to occasionally, they've seen it hundreds of times. I can't calculate that in my mind. I can't fathom it. I'm a film guy, have been since I was a child, and the most I've seen any movie is maybe 10 times, It's a Wonderful Life on a
Right.
semi-annual basis. But man, the way people have taken to this movie, it's almost a category of its own. Think of a movie that is re-released every year and keeps growing in stature, and the fact that it was held back for decades and then re-released right around the pandemic. I mean, it kind of just exploded because people were stuck at home on their phones and watching their devices. So that all kind of played into what's happening now, which is next year's the 40th anniversary. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the 40th, but the annual showing is crazy. I mean, you see these stories of people driving hundreds of miles to go to their closest theater to see it, and just to see that level of fan loyalty. You know, you and I have gone to a few around LA, and I think one of the first ones we did was downtown LA, and that was an anomaly because it's so hard. I picked up Sam and we drove for an hour and a half to get 11 miles to downtown. That's how bad LA traffic is. And there were probably 30 people in the theater, including us.
Yeah, yeah, that's a dopey theater. Nobody goes there. But
Yeah.
most people, I get a lot of FaceTimes on Rad Night, and it's invariably from packed houses. And some friend of mine will go, I got Cru Jones on FaceTime, and people go ape shit. But so many theaters are packed across the country with little or no advertising. I understand Hulu took out some paid ads, or they took out some paid ads with Hulu, but I never saw any ads outside Facebook, and not everybody's on Facebook. So somehow the word gets out, and people will drive hundreds of miles and bring their kids and dress in the Rad racing gear. It's unbelievable. And what's even more unbelievable to me, Tony, and I'm trying to fix this, is that phenomenon is, I would say, 100% ignored by the bicycle industry. The audience that this is geared towards, and you know more about this than I do, how many bicycles do you think Rad is responsible for selling?
Oh man, I mean, that was kind of the height of BMX, both freestyle and racing in '86. A lot.
You can't quantify it, dude. We just know. It's like, okay, when a popular group adapts an instrument, then all the kids want that instrument, and they go out and buy that instrument. It's the oldest,
right?
It's the oldest thing in the book. And so for the bicycle industry to ignore what Rad has done, well, the automotive industry didn't ignore how with NASCAR or the Trans Am, right? They celebrated it. So I'm calling the bicycle industry out to make this a part of their agenda. Rad contextualizes, is that a word? The sport, and the lifestyle and the attitude, and it's a film that I'm happy to have on my tombstone as my achievement, because it celebrates camaraderie, not killing your enemy, right?
Right.
To me, the hero of this movie is Mark Taylor when he waves Cru on, and now they're mano a mano. This is the greatest moment in that movie, and it's a great moment in sports history movies, because it displays that we're not there to kill our competition. We're there to see who's better that day, and then we'll see who's better tomorrow. It's that kind of thing.
It's a great story, and people,
I think the world needs this message.
Bart wasn't the bad guy in the movie. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I mean, I wonder how many kids went out and bought Mongoose bikes and didn't go out and buy Murray bikes, which is an interesting thing that wasn't really addressed in the film.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, Mongoose is now a Walmart brand, right?
More or less, yeah. A lot of brands have gone that way. They've
Yeah,
gone to the mass market just to make more money. But you know, I mean, if you go back in time, Stu Thompson rode for Huffy, and he's a big dude, and was one of the fastest racers ever. And I guarantee that that was not an off the shelf Huffy that he was riding. There's no chance.
of course. Yeah, I don't know the game well, but I do know that Rad is responsible for selling about a billion bikes, give or take a billion. And I've been escorted out of BMX events, like at Mongoose booth in the Grands. It's like, yeah, Bill Allen can leave now. So it's just a
Why would
weird
they kick you
disconnect.
out?
Well, do you want to? The actual reason is I hadn't paid a vendor's fee, and now I'm at the Mongoose booth and creating a little stir, and
Ugh.
they weren't having it. So I was asked to leave, and that's happened on more than one occasion. Personally, yeah, it's annoying, but really, there's not too many stars in this sport, like recognizable personalities. So it's that's a weird disconnect, and I ignore it because I'm running my own race. And if these
Right.
guys don't want to get up to speed with my crew, that's fine. We're gonna do these things anyway, not because they are easy, but because they are hard, and because it does have an effect. Kids will go out and buy bikes and try these things where they wouldn't have otherwise, and these guys are likely to profit from it and not give the people who kind of help create this momentum any uh, credit or money. That's okay, Tony. Dude, I'm two steps from a fucking great. And listen, Ben Franklin, he didn't patent the lightning rod, right? He could have. He just
Right.
invented it and went and understood this is good for humanity. And I understand that, or my point of view, the bicycles are good for humanity. So that's my that's my raison d'etre these days. And sometimes I get paid for it, sometimes I don't, and I don't really care. You know, some of my happiest days have been my leanest days as a starving artist. So that doesn't scare me,
Good.
yeah, whatever. And now the guys I'm surrounded with, like yourself, are accomplished individuals in decision making positions. And now I'm finding my rad team, and we're moving forward with a lot of cool stuff.
That's awesome. Um, Tell me about some of the more notable people that are fans of the movie that you know of.
Well, Ed Helms comes to mind. I did an interview with him for one of the rad releases a couple of years ago before the
Oh,
movie
that's
started.
awesome.
Yeah, he was a interviewer on that. Let's see. I mean, you'd know as much as I do. I know the action sports guys, the Travis Pastranas. The really I met. Is it Robbie Madison?
Yeah, yeah, definitely him.
I met him a
I'd
couple
love to
years
have
ago.
him on this show.
Well, he couldn't have been nicer. And if you're not aware of Robbie, he's the goat of Supercross. I mean, he's just unbelievable. There are guys on his level, but you could count them on one finger, basically. And so it really found its home with athletes. And so the Tony Hawks, like I said, Travis Pastrana's, the Ryan Nyquist, the guys are superstars in their own sports. It was part and parcel to who they were, and it created this movement that's now Nitro Circus and the X Games and the Olympics. You can pretty much draw direct lines right to Rad, to where a lot of this fire took hold.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, just amazing. Who was the Olympic BMX racer that was dying to meet you. Sherm told me this story. Your brother.
Oh, Donnie Robinson. He won the bronze, I think, the
Oh,
first
Donnie's
year.
awesome.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. And again, these super athletes who took their cues from that movie, often as children, and it just made it intelligible for them, whatever sport. And a lot of kids obviously didn't go into the sport, but it translates. Follow your gut, that kind of thing. And so
Right.
that's very powerful for a lot of people. So fans I meet now, it's a good mix of guys who went into the sport of bicycling or BMX and just movie fans who just love the movie and the story and the moral uh, fiber of it.
Just amazing. I mean, it had an impact on me for sure. And I understand how it has an impact on other people. It's funny. I was doing a project, a video project for Intel, and the the owner of the house that I was filming in, and I were talking, and while I was getting lighting set up, and he somehow the movie came up. And he's never been into BMX or anything, but he has a copy of the movie on his phone, watches it once a week. I mean, that's the kind of fans that are out there. And
they're
it's
out
just,
there.
yeah, I mean, God bless all of them. And I count myself as one of them, obviously. So, and happy to have you as a friend.
Well, we're super pals, Tony, and we've got a lot of fun ahead of us. But yeah, I just oftentimes I think Hal did too good of a job in that kids think that that was a reality and that I can do those tricks. And now they want to know what happened after Bart handed me his bike. Nothing happened. I went to the unemployment line. It's just like this is a movie. So I'm so glad that Hal and his supporting cast and crew were able to pull off this magic trick. I was hanging out with Jay Miron. I want to say about 15 years ago, the great Jay Miron, and he said, "I still hear people say that Cru Jones is still out on the circuit racing." This blows my mind. Do they not see the credits? Or do they just not believe it? It's like, well, who's Bill Allen? I know who Cru Jones is because he's still out racing. So it's now taken on with a certain crowd who asked me if I did my own stunts. It's taken on this kind of mythic status, this Robin Hood kind of, did it happen or didn't happen? Who cares? It's a cool story. We'll go with the myth.
Well, it's a movie. You're supposed to have that suspension of disbelief and just roll with it, and it really worked in that movie.
Apparently so. Wigs and all, dude. It's still again. Hats off to Hal. Because what movies are basically misdirection and magic tricks and creating things that didn't happen. Although I know Hal was very much into making stunts practical and doable and believable. So that was the construct behind Rad, except for the bicycle boogie sequence. When the lights come up and I've got rhinestones head to toe, now we're doing things that can't be done, never have been done, never will be done on a bicycle. So the sequence and the fact that we're just doing crazy stuff that's not represented in the rest of the movie make me think that the most famous section of the main part of the movie is just kind of Cru's fantasy. That's what I think.
Okay, let's talk about that day. What was going on that day?
Oh, I was puking in my shoes, dude. We had a softball game Sunday night or Sunday the day before, and we ate a bunch of KFC, and pretty much everybody got sick except for Hal Needham because he was all ginned up. There's nothing bad that could live in his system. But yeah, I was on death's door pretty much that shoot. I just remember lying under the bleachers going, please just kill me now.
You know, I know that story, and every time I watch the scene, I don't see it. So
That's why they call it acting. And
you did it very well.
well, again, that's what we do. And that's the hardest thing we do is if that's the last place you want to be and you're supposed to be acting like it's the only place you want to be, now you have to dig deep, you know, because the
Right.
camera, as they say, does not lie. And so it's all trickery. Like I said earlier, it's all trickery, but you got to be good at your trickery. And it's all overacting. Just don't get caught at it. So, man, I was brought up by some very good players, people who you wouldn't remember their names, but I was reflecting this morning on how blessed I've been with my training as an actor. I
Right.
don't know why I've been so blessed, but I wouldn't have had it any other way, or period. I got to work with the best of the best in the genre of film acting, which is what I wanted out of life. And so I got handed a lot of great gifts and watched personalities around me blow up bigger than big. And so I learned a lot of lessons from that. I took a lot of notes, what to do, what not to do, and thankful for my little place in life, a walk-on part in the war. Yeah,
Yeah, you did get to work with Brad Pitt and George Clooney early in their careers.
I sure did.
And
Um,
tell the story of the battlefield with the ants.
oh, so I was on a shoot for a movie called Born on the Fourth of July that was later lampooned in Tropic Thunder. That was basically my experience on Born on the Fourth of July. So we were going through extreme jungle training with actual hardened Marines in the jungles of Houston, outside Houston, very hot and humid. And we were getting towards the end of our 10, 12-day training session out and sleeping in mud holes. And Tom was there for most, if not the whole time. And our last night, we were doing a long range night patrol ambush. So we had scoped out where we were going to sit that day. And then we would take our positions after sunset and wait for the quote enemy. These are war games to come through, and we light them
Right.
up. Haha. But these Marines, they're not messing around, dude. They're not messing around at all. So we're
Right.
scared. We're scared out of our minds. I certainly was, because they had it in for me. That's a different story. But we're going out on a long range patrol. It's night, moonless night, very dark outside, and we're probably a click, a third of a mile away from our final position. And I sit down in what I think is like just a soft place to land, because Tom called a hold. And what I come to realize, not only am I covered in chiggers, but I'm sitting in a red ant pile. So now I'm covered
Boy.
in poisonous red ants that are having their way with me, man. I mean, by the time I realize I'm covered, it's too late. They're making a meal out of me, and I'm trying to brush them off. And
Oof.
Tom Cruise is in my face, screaming, whispering. I don't know how you do that, but he did it. Whispering at the top of his lungs, man. And he was not messing around. This guy's intense, man. And he was mad, mad, man. And I couldn't come out with the words. I'm dying, because I was dying. And so we get put in our positions. And so I'm an arm's distance each direction from other actors portraying Marines who are doing the same thing I am, except I'm dying inside. I'm experiencing the worst pain of my life, my arms swelling up. And since I was already on the bad side of these Marines, I'm like, well, here's my plan. I'll just pass out from the pain and they'll find me in the morning. I mean, it's a good life plan, really. When I could have just said, hey guys, stop this. I'm dying. Take me somewhere. No. this is how brainwashing works. And these Marine drill instructors, they can do it in a matter of weeks, turn farm boys into killers. And they decided to do it to a bunch of actors. And that's what they did on Platoon and all of Oliver's Vietnam movies and Saving Private Ryan. So it was the same group of Marines headed up by Dale Dye, a very famous arms expert and trainer for these young actors. And he would just take these actors out into the wilderness and thrash them within an inch of their life. And then it's like, turn the cameras on. There's not much acting that needs to take place. It's like, you're there, dude. You got the 1,000-yard stare. You want to kill anything that moves. So it's effective filmmaking, but it can mess with your head. Yeah. So they made a movie out of it. Tropic Thunder. Literally, I was watching that movie having Vietnam flashbacks of my own.
I can see that would give you PTSD for sure.
Well,
I mean, but that's
yeah.
Didn't you get a lot of respect from the film crew for going through that?
From the crew, it was very compartmentalized. We were kind of our own Marine unit and not really allowed or encouraged to mingle with anybody else, and we didn't want to. We thought we were all that after 2 weeks of Marine training.
No, your own personal boot camp.
They were serious. It was no joke. These guys had lost, hundreds of their friends in Vietnam. Many of them had done 2 or 3 tours in Vietnam, so that was that area. So and of course Oliver Stone was that guy too. Platoon, which right. I nearly got that role. He wanted me for the Charlie Sheen role at one point. Oliver Stone was that guy. He was a killer of men and a survivor of the Vietnam debacle. And there's a certain mentality that goes with these guys. So Oliver was a former grunt, and he surrounded himself by these Marines who were all combat hardened Marines. And now you're in a place, this has little to do with movie making. I don't know what we're doing here, but these men among men decide we're gonna put on this little play in the jungle and see what happens. Dude, it was enough to make Tropic Thunder after.
Right.
Yep.
Crazy.
Crazy. And I needed that as a young actor. I always wanted to portray a soldier, and get into that mindset. So I got it in spades. And, I wish I hadn't gone through it. Truly. I wish I hadn't gone through it.
It made you a better actor.
Well, I got tinnitus to this day for training with 50 caliber weapons with no hearing protection. Why'd they do that to us? I don't know, dude. But again, you get caught up in this mentality that the movie's the thing and nothing else matters. What are you talking about? How about we get through this without injuring or killing somebody? How'd that be? So that wasn't a big that
right
wasn't on the agenda. Yeah.
I get that. So what are you up to now? I mean, personally, I know some of the stuff that you've got going, but what can you talk about that you're doing right now?
Well, I'm producing another BMX movie. We don't have a title yet or a release date, but we're certainly
call it Balls Out.
I don't know what we're going to call it. The Bill Allen story. But so I've kind of put on my producer's cap the past few years and have been producing a documentary that will hopefully be out soon, and working on some feature films right now.
So what's your documentary?
I guess I shouldn't say right now, but
okay.
It has to do with my past and the crew I was coming up with. Pretty impressive group of individuals that I was not worthy of being in that circle, but anyway.
You were. But go on.
I don't know, dude. I was swimming in and continue to swim in pretty deep waters, and I'm just happy to be around, and people still want to talk to me. That's it. I'm a
Fair
lucky
enough.
guy, Tony. I'm a lucky guy, Tony, and this whole nostalgia thing is kind of kicked in, and I couldn't have really predicted it. There's this film called Searching for Sugarman, where this musician who did a few albums just kind of disappeared and got a life of his own and became a carpenter while his albums kept gaining stature in like South Africa. And then he did a concert tour. And so I feel like that. It's just like I was lost in the wilderness for a long time. And now I've kind of found my footing again through people like you and the fans who have kind of lifted me up through these interesting times. And I'm not worried about anything, dude. We've got a great team moving forward, and I get to live my little life as an artist.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So
super happy.
Thank you for this. My first interview of the podcast, and give a big hug to your lovely wife.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you, and stay tuned for the next one, guys.
Hey, thanks for making it all the way to the end of this episode. Please hit that like and subscribe button and check out our other episodes.